Hi, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Bruce Starr Show. My name is Bruce Starr. We're going to have an absolutely fascinating show for you today. You know, I like to bring you the most interesting people on the face of the earth whenever I can. And my guest today, Lori Cheek, is absolutely a very, very interesting person who has done a lot in the world. And because I don't understand exactly what she's done and how she's done it, I want to introduce her right away and bring her right onto the show. Lori Cheek, welcome to the Bruce Starr Show. Thanks so much for being with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Great. Lori, would you take a couple of minutes to tell everybody a little bit about you, maybe your history, where you're from? And I know you're living in New York City right now, and that's always a fascinating place to live. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I was born in the smallest town in the entire world in Taylorsville, Kentucky, and I was crawling out of my skin to get somewhere big. So after graduating architecture school at the University of Kentucky, I threw up my hat, went straight home, packed up a U-Haul truck and my kitty cat, and drove straight to New York City without looking back. And that was 20 years ago. So I started practicing architecture and working in design firms for about 15 years. Then I had one of those crazy light bulb moments that I couldn't turn off. And now I'm no longer building structures. I'm now building relationships. And I own a dating app because I couldn't stop thinking about this idea 8 years ago.
So tell me about that. Tell me how that all came about and the voices you've heard and how you really got going with this.
So I was out to dinner with another architect one night in February of 2008. I will never forget the night. And I had excused myself to go to the little girl's room. And when I came back, he'd scribbled on the back of his business card a pickup line and he slipped it to a woman as we were leaving the restaurant. And I could not stop thinking about what an unawkward way of introducing yourself to a stranger that was. You know, in a city of 8 million people, it's impossible to make ice-breaking connections with people. So for one straight year, I brainstormed about how to take the business out of the business card and create a deck of dating cards that didn't have any personal information on them. So I got a team around me, and 1 year later, in May of 2010, we launched Cheek.com. So that was the beginning, and that was the light bulb, and that's what started jetting me out of my 15-year career in architecture and design.
So tell me what that deck of cards did. The vision that you saw, what was that deck of cards going to do?
Well, it was a little bit like what my friend had done at dinner that night. You know, the two of them ended up on a date, but when he handed that card, I felt like he's almost handing her his LinkedIn resume for a date. I mean, I just think it's a little awkward, and it's too much information to hand a total stranger. So my deck of cards, there were 50 in a pack, and they said all these funny things on them. Like one of them said, I just put all my drinks on your tab. You can hand that to someone at a bar, and hopefully they have a sense of humor, knowing you didn't actually do that, or you did, but whatever. Then there was a little code on the card that the recipient could type in at our website and then find the profile of the person that had slipped them the card. So, you know, all the hotties on a morning commute in the New York City subway, you could slip somebody a card, walk out the door's closed, and they're left with the fate in their hands to find you again. So I just thought it was a romantic gesture, a neat way to say, I want to see you again to strangers without giving your phone number, your office address, all that stuff, even a name, you know?
So what was on that card? What kind of contact information was on that card?
One side said, you've been cheeked, and the other side had the funny pickup line. So maybe it said, I'm hitting on you. Then it had that code that would lead to the person that owned the cards, and it had our website. So it was that simple.
So how did things progress from there? How did it get, more and more what it is today?
Well, I was just telling somebody this story earlier. Right after I launched this business in May of 2010, we soon got covered in the New York Times, and it said, move over Match.com. This is the next generation of online dating. And that article led to a call from Oprah Winfrey's studio. I thought I had gold in my hands. I started planning my jet airplane vacations all over the world, but it didn't work out quite like that. I didn't become the billionaire I thought I was going to become, and things were a lot harder. I ran out of money through the journey. and I hit a lot of walls. I made a lot of mistakes. I had the wrong team around me. I never looked for funding to start out. I had no idea how much this thing was going to cost or what would be involved. So finally, a friend of mine knew my struggles, and she said, that show, The Shark Tank, is taking applications now. Why don't you apply? So I'm like, okay. So I filled out the application, and 1 year later, I found myself walking down the hallway in front of the sharks, and that was quite the experience.
Let's take a break for these brief but important messages, but when we get back, we're going to find out about Lori Cheek's experience in front of the sharks on Shark Tank. Don't go away, you won't want to miss this.
Hi everyone, this is Lisa Copeland, the host of the You Can Find Love After 50 show. You can catch my show on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, where we'll talk about how you can find love after 50 on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network.
And welcome back to the Love Coach Show. This is Bruce Starr, your host. Now we're going to learn about Lori Cheek's experience in front of the sharks on Shark Tank. I'm sure that there isn't a person alive that hasn't imagined what that must have been like. I mean, we think we know what that's like. Can you tell me, from the moment those doors parted, do you actually, other than seeing it on video, do you remember it? I mean, were you 100% there? Tell me about that experience.
I had practiced my pitch like 100 times a day. I could say this thing with so much energy and charisma. When I was in front of those doors, like hair and makeup, all these lights, all these cameras everywhere you were looking, I thought I was going to pass out. I have never been more scared of anything in my life. My heart was beating in my throat. I thought I was going to get out in front of them and fall down I was not me. I was worried the words weren't going to come out. So, the doors open. I walked down the thing. My heart is going crazy. Like I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And then you're standing in front of them and they have this like kind of old country Western stare off, which makes it more intense. So you're just standing there in front of them and all these lights and everybody. And I'm just thinking, this is national television. Get it together. Or this is your one shot. You don't get a second chance. You're just out there. It's done. You pass out. You're off the show. So anyway, I did my best to get the words out of my mouth. I think I sounded and looked like a robot. I didn't breathe. Apparently I didn't blink. But I got the pitch out, and, initially they started chatting about it for a long time. And I thought it was great because I realized they kind of get what I'm trying to do. And then, of course, Kevin O'Leary halts the whole chitter chatter, and he starts saying, okay, what about money? And then we went into the whole numbers thing, and I told them how little money I'd made over the past 3.5 years, and the whole thing went, and there was no crawling out of that downward spiral once I was headed down. And, it was painful, but through the whole thing, I wasn't going to quit. I just was on there to tell the world what I'm trying to do, and hoping that someone in the audience, if the sharks didn't get it, that someone in the world would. Now, and people did.
Did anyone encourage you at all with a smile or with a nod from time to time? Or were you really just on your own there?
Mark Cuban is the guy that I actually had my eye on, and he was the one that I thought got it the most. And then I said something ridiculous. I was like, I'm going to change the population with this idea. And he's like, once someone's delusional, I'm out. So, it was just, I messed up by saying that. Otherwise, I feel like he would have stayed in the game, and he was the one that got it more than anybody else. And I remember Kevin O'Leary threw my deck of cards up in the air and they went falling down, and they didn't air that part, but that was kind of painful. Robert Herjavec kind of got it. He was not so awful, and Barbara was the nicest one, and she's like, you're the right entrepreneur with the wrong idea. And she told me about a little story of hers that I could hopefully relate to. But, I heard their feedback, and I came out of there, and I did something different with it. I didn't quit. I just changed things.
So this is also, again, we're going from one incredibly interesting situation to another. Take me from that day on, take me through your life and through the life of this company.
Well, when the 5 of them were out, finally, I was like, I cannot walk off the stage without saying something else. And I remember looking them all in the eye, and I said, trust you will all see me again. And I mean it. I meant it, and I still mean it. And then I walked off the stage, and I'm like, okay, now I can move forward. So, when I got back to New York, I had to wait 4 months for the episode to air. And you still don't know if your episode's going to air until the thing actually airs. So I was just nervous for 4 months. I couldn't tell anybody what was going on, where I'd been, what I'd done. You can't tell anybody a thing about it. So I just kept my mouth shut. And then finally they tell you your episode's airing, and then you can start telling people that they can watch it. So I decided to have this huge party in New York City. I invited 600 people. I think we had like 250 people there. And, then everybody there was like, you must have gotten a deal or you wouldn't be having this party. But I was celebrating national exposure for my company, which was, knocking against brick walls everywhere I turned. This was a huge opportunity for me. So the morning after the show aired, we had 3,000 emails. I'd say 2,200 of them were praise and said, don't stop whatever you do. You're ahead of your time. Do not give up. How can I get involved? How can I help? It was nonstop. I cried for 3 weeks reading half of these emails. And I tried to get back to everybody that I could. And, there was a day my partner and I sat down, and he said, why don't we regroup and think about how to take your initial idea and vamp it up or change it or just make it new and better. So we had a meeting with one of the most expensive development teams in all of New York City, and we talked about how to start reinventing the new Cheeked, and we decided to get rid of the cards. We got rid of the apostrophe in Cheeked. We got a new logo, and now we've got this brand new technology that connects people in the real world without a card. So there's no more pickup lines. Now, if you and I both have the app and we're sitting next to each other on a subway, you don't even need Wi-Fi or cell signal. It'll tell you that someone within a 30-foot radius of you is also on the app, and you could start chatting on the app. You can break the ice there, and then maybe you see them again the next morning, and you can start a real conversation.
So I want you to leave your contact information. We're going to go on, but I want you to leave your contact information, your website information, your email. I want to do that a few times with you during the show. So let's do that right now.
Okay, so I'm Lori Cheek. That's LoriCheek. And my email is lori@cheeked.com. And cheeked.com is CHEEKD.com. And we're cheeked on every social media outlet that you can find.
You're listening to the Love Coach Show. My name is Bruce Starr, your host. And we will have more with Lori Cheek in just a few moments, what Lori's up to now and what direction the company has taken. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is Cece Schatz, and I'm an inspirational speaker, divorce, life, and transitional coach with a unique style of healing from within. With that, been here, done that approach to life. I hope you'll join me each and every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Going Solo with Cece, where we bring you educational, informative discussions through the devastation feelings of divorce to finding yourself and redefining your best life. We will take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of divorce, parenting, being single, relationships, dating, and yes, sex. So be sure to tune in every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Going Solo with Cece.
Coach Show, my name is Bruce Starr, your love coach, your relationship builder. And many times I bring you some great guests that can also help you build relationships. Right now we're talking with Lori Cheek, famous for her appearance on the Shark Tank and with her app Cheek. So let's get back to our discussion with Lori and find out what she's up to now. And I know that you're a wonderful marketing and promotional person. You've had some incredible social events in New York. Tell us about that and what's going on now with you and the company.
So we're still very small. When someone calls the Cheeked headquarters, it's my cell phone. But it's me and a partner, and we have some people that we freelance for us. helping us out. But as far as PR and marketing, that's my gig. And, there's no one else doing it. So all day, every day, I'm doing everything I possibly can do to get people on this app. So I reach out for press, I mentor people, I speak at events. I have cheeked events almost every 2 weeks here in New York City where everybody has the app. So it's really cool once people come together in a room, their phones are blowing up with connections that they're making inside the event. So I don't know, it's my passion, and I feel very strongly about what I've been building. We just turned 6 a couple of weeks ago, so it's like my daughter's in first grade.
Wow. And so are there any success stories that you can share with us? Are people coming back to you and telling you, wonderful things because they met on your app?
Well, we're still newish out of the gate since we've launched our app out of beta. So I haven't heard of any marriages yet, but I do know inside those events that people have gone away from the event and they're still communicating on the app, which is kind of cool. I think at a typical event, you're not exchanging information with everyone, but here the app does it for you. And maybe you didn't have a chance to talk to somebody at the event. You can get home and flip through the person's cheeked profile, and then you could say like, oh, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk to you. So we're no marriages that I know of, but we'll get there.
And is there room, with a small company that still has a great idea and a great concept? There's certainly millions of single people in and around the New York metropolitan area, and of course, everywhere in the country and everywhere in the world. Is there a possibility for expansion where people other than, say, New York City will be able to take advantage of your technology?
Yeah, the app can be downloaded in the iTunes store all over the world. And the beauty is that Shark Tank episode that tore me to shreds, they re-air that thing on CNBC all the time. And they re-air it all over the world. So I'll see traffic coming to my website from India, from Finland, and we get downloads in those countries. And I'm like, one of these days, one of those tiny countries is going to all have the app. And maybe it's going to take off somewhere else before it really hits here. I mean, New York's a big place. So to cross somebody in a 30-foot radius, we have to have a lot of people on it before it starts really doing its magic. So who knows where this could become the next big thing.
So before we go, what else would you like people to know about Cheeked and you and, the possible future of wonderful technology like this?
Well, all I've been trying to do since day one, after coming from that tiny town in Taylorsville, Kentucky, to this huge city in New York, I've just been trying to create a way for people to break the ice and meet strangers, and not to do it on the internet, or like not to flip through Tinder as like a video game. I mean, this is meant to be a serious way of finding people in your vicinity that you can potentially maybe date or become friends with. So I think I'm onto something. I think I have been onto something. We're looking for another round to build the app on Android, but right now it's free in the iTunes store, and I'd just love for everyone to give it a try. It's a very beautiful onboarding process, and you connect with Facebook. It takes like 2 seconds to get your profile going.
So one last time, tell us how this app works and what people can expect if they contact you and join Cheeked.
I mean, like a good example that I say is I go to the same gym every single day. And when I'm in the weights area, there's all these good looking guys around me. But that's one of those places where people do not talk to one another. But if they have the app and maybe we get home later and we see that we missed each other at the gym, I think it's a neat way to break the ice on the app. And if you've talked on an app, there's no way you're going to go back to the gym the next day and not have to force yourself to physically say something. So, I mean, I think we're kind of like a little bit of a crutch on this app. But anyway, so it just works. Your phones become a beacon. Anyone you cross within a 30-foot radius that has their Bluetooth turned on, you'll make an immediate connection. And that means.
Is there a picture? Is there a picture that people see?
Yes. Yes. So you can pick up to 10 pictures and you put a little bit more information about yourself. And if you like that person, you press Get Cheeky. And they have to get cheeky with you back, so then you can start chatting with each other.
That's great. Well, Lori, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And, I'm a fan of yours, and I hope you're a woman after my own heart, and you're an entrepreneur, you're passionate, you really believe in something. And I just know that when someone is that passionate, someone really believes in something and they can fill a need, anything can happen at any time. So I encourage you to keep on going, and I only wish the best for you.
Thank you so much.
You are listening to The Love Coach Show, hosted by me, Bruce Starr, the relationship builder. When we return, I will share with you another one of the very interesting conversations I had in my room, relationship coaching. So don't go away. We will be right back.
Hello, everybody. This is Madam Coach Correa, Love and Pillow Talk, WGSN-DB radio show. Join me every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and learn about love relationships and how they relate to your soulmate.
Welcome back to the Love Coach Show with your host, Bruce Starr. I'm glad you stayed around because this next conversation that I call All My Men Dump Me will bring out a little insight to anyone as to why you or anyone else you know should not get too physical too soon. Let's get right to it. So, all my men dump me. This lady's name was Carrie. And she says, all my men dump me after a week. They all have different reasons or no reason at all. I'm not sure why. I'm a 20-year-old female, 5'10", blonde hair, and blue eyes. I'm a graphic artist nut. I love my Mac too much. I think I must be afraid of commitment. And then I said, in general, people that have sex too early, too easily, do not value themselves or their bodies. Others who see this know it and will treat you accordingly. It kind of gives others permission to not have such high regard for you because you do not have such high regard for yourself. How quickly do you get physical with them? She says, whoa, does that make a difference? Is it better not to get too physical too quickly? I said, yes, for many reasons. If they think you do it with every guy you meet, it must mean nothing to you to sleep with them. And they will not take you seriously as a potential mate. She said, really? Wow. If you meet someone and have sex with them on the first or second date, unless there is a true and dynamic connection between you, a body, mind, and spirit connection, which is kind of rare because so many times it's confused with the heated physical attraction that many times people feel, they will look at you as a one-night stand kind of person. Guys will assume that you are like them, wanting to have a lot of experiences but not taking anyone in particular very seriously. They will not value a person like that for a relationship or anything else. You see, men secretly want to meet someone who treasures themselves and is a challenge to win over. It is a true sign that you value yourself if you do not give yourself away too easily. Men figure if you value yourself, there must be some value there. And if they have any sense of value at all, they will stay around to find out. And Carrie ended by saying, wow, thanks a lot, and bye-bye for now. Thank you for listening to The Love Coach Show, hosted by Bruce Starr, the relationship builder. If you would like to contact me for whatever reason, whether you want one-on-one relationship coaching, that will save you months to years of making the same mistakes over and over again, or coaching and presenting to a group of relationship-minded people, or if you would like to have me come and speak to your church, temple, JCC, college or university or community center about positive, healthy, and productive relationships, you can contact me by email at lovecoach, L-U-V coach, at AOL.com, or call me at 305-814-2011. That's 305-814-2011. Feel free to visit my website at theopenheartmovement.com or my Facebook site at The Love Coach, L-U-V-C-O-A-C-H. Thank you again for listening in, and I look forward to bringing you more interesting and mind-expanding guests on future shows. Bye-bye for now. Until next time.